ready? Of course, I can't hear you. Okay. Well, welcome everybody to the August broadcast for Mother Mary's message every month. As some of you may know, on 8/8, I was scheduled to broadcast, but I had no internet. I was leaving one place and heading to another and kind of in between. So here we are on a beautiful Sunday, the 11th of August, and I'm here on the beautiful island of Maui, having spent about 10 days on Kauai and a few days here, and I head home to Arizona tomorrow. So I'm going to be bottling up all the aloha and sending it to each and every one of you to enjoy and hopefully to feel, because it's still here and it's still incredibly real. So for those of you that are new to me, my name is Dr. Samara Grace Daniels, and I've been a channel for Mother Mary since 1997. Oh, long time and no complaints. She offers, again, a perspective about how to live in this ever-changing world in the most loving way possible. And I hope that for all of you, this can be a time to reflect and feel and know that maybe it's really all for a purpose and all for a good reason, and that there is a light at the end of a tunnel, and hopefully it's not a train coming at us. For those of you that like to find me, my website is samaragrace.com, and I would love to hear from you. And we will be posting this video on Facebook so that you can pass it along to friends who may have missed it today. So it is my joy and my honor and my privilege to take just a moment and bring in Mother Mary with her message for all of us on this beautiful day. Well, hello everyone. Someone might say aloha, because I'm here with Samara on the island of Maui. As some of you may know from various readings, this is a region in which the lost cities of Lemuria were really, in part, here, and in another way, you might think of it not only as historical, but as a place really from a different dimension. For Lemuria did not exist in 3D time going back paleontologically. It really was a time and space from another perspective, like a portal. And yet many of you may have memories and things that come up for you around why is our society so divisive? You know, the people that have any attachment to Lemuria, any recognition of Lemuria, you're all peacemakers. And so it becomes more and more difficult to be in a world in which peace becomes cut into pieces. And I think that's one of the things that brings Samara back here again and again, is to sort of bring back the energy of aloha and love of country, not any particular country, but the country side, the places, the grass, the trees, the flowers, the birds, all of it. That's the country. And I think today what I want to start with and perhaps help you with is that this is a time not to go back to Lemuria, but to utilize some of the streams of energy that were birthed there, bringing them into contemporary modern society. One of the lovely people on the call is Claire. And one of the ways that she is doing exactly what I'm talking about is through the work that you're doing with children and the work that you're doing politically. And I want to spend this moment to say thank you, thank you, thank you. For to be in the world in a way that epitomizes the love that you all knew in Lemuria is to be a master of love. So thank you, Claire. Thank you. We are seeing you. We know what you're doing. We recognize the challenges that you have faced, and we applaud. We applaud. We applaud. And for each of you, whether you're on this call now or you're here at another point, I'm applauding all of you, because whatever your curriculum has been, whatever the challenges that you face, if you can, instead of being bowed down by them, if you can rise through them, that is taking the energy of love, let's say from Lemuria, and putting it into a new world vision. For we cannot go back thousands of years. We cannot go back to another time and place. We can only go ahead into the future. But what you can do that can be, that can help you be stronger in what you want to accomplish is you can call upon what would love do here. This is the mantra Samara repeats again and again in Reiki, right? What would love do here? And it is your love. So for instance, the path that Claire is taking right now is engendered by her curriculum, her struggles in this life, and her desire to take all of that and consecrate it into something more valuable and more honorable and more loving in the world. And she's doing that. And my lovely Barbara, who's half asleep there, you're doing the same thing with all that you cared about for those immigrant children and your desire and your commitment to write Grace from Space and all of the things that are coming. And I think sometimes it's challenging because you don't always get immediate, New York Times bestseller list, or whatever. But realize part of what each of you are doing is putting this new kind of love, that's what I'll call it, even though it's coming from thousands of years ago. But the new kind of love says, I know what is the highest course in life. You all know that, the highest course in life. And meanwhile, the tendency is to sink into some sort of mediocrity and some sort of complacency. And so when you have the desire, like a seed coming through the hard crust of the earth, you have to break through the complacency, right? And the mediocrity that says, oh, well, that's just how it's done. When you know, no, that isn't how it's to be done. Maybe that's what you're doing in this moment, but that's not all right. That's not the highest light and highest course. And so what you're doing, each of you, is tremendously important, because if the world switches back to complacency, you can just feel what will happen. All of the, well, for want of a better description, all of the robber barons who want the oil, who want the mining rights, who want to have more money than anyone should really have a right to have, they will use that kind of power. And they will just bulldoze right through. So for each of you, however you're feeling to make a difference, however you're feeling called to come into that place of honorable action, and this is a term I hope you will share with others. What is the honorable action to take? One of the interviews Samara saw on television a couple of nights ago was with a young American man of Korean descent who had been in the Foreign Service for 10 years and who resigned in protest. And he said, I can no longer stand for the America that is being told to me to do. He said, that's not my America. And so he took that course of action, leaving his job and his seniority and the money and all of that, because he knew it was no longer the honorable way to be. And so it does have a price. All of you have had people yelling at you or criticism or people wanting you to be quiet or put you down. But this is the time to stand anyway and to say, you know what, not on my watch. I will not let immigrant children be stolen from their parents and left in terrible, terrible conditions. I will not let children who are different in any way simply be marginalized because they're different. Let's celebrate them. And for my beloved Tammy, who's gone through her own trial by fire recently. You are leaving behind a way of seeing the world and a way that the world saw you. For to become all that each of you are is to stand and be what I will call a warrior for the light. And it's not a warrior with a gun or a sword. It is a warrior with a voice and with determination and with honor, finding the way in the world that is the highest love that you can bring. And when you do that, although there are those who will criticize, what you find is this amazing strength, this amazing coursing through your veins that says, I am in the path of love for me. And then everything else sort of takes its own place in a way. It's remarkable because so many of you were trained in complacency, trained to do what you're told, don't make waves, don't be someone who upsets things. But that's not how the world gets better. That's not how the world evolves into something else. The other thing I want to say to you is that for those of you that are still dealing with self-doubt and self-judgment, I want you to consider something. I'd like you to stop improving. Like, what? What did Mary say? Stop improving? Aren't I supposed to improve? I'm saying that because I want to sort of startle you, because so many of you are such good girls and you want to improve and improve and improve. And you take this course and this course and this course and you go over here and you go over there and, you diet till you're sick of it and you restrain yourself in so many ways. And when it's done in excess, even though it's from the best of intentions, it begins to be eroding to your value, to your self-value, right? Well, I'll do that when I've lost weight, or I will do that when I'm got my PhD, or I will do that when whatever. And so this train of improving, when it is to excess, is really a hindrance to the joy that I want you to feel. So my suggestion is to stop improving to excess and start revealing. Start revealing your true essence, who you are. Let it be beautiful. Let it be glorious. Let it be true. Let it be honest. Reveal yourself. Because again, what this does is it a little like the wonderful story about Michelangelo and the statue of David. He didn't want to improve the stone. He wanted to reveal the David. And so it was a different perspective with which he operated. He wanted to take away everything that wasn't David. And of course, it's one of the most magnificent creations in the history of art. So what I would like you to do is to reveal Barbara, Claire, Tammy, Samara, by removing and discarding and releasing anything that isn't you. And not only to be okay with that, to be profoundly joyful about that. And I think that when you do that, the world begins to see a different model. And so to take it from the personal to the global for just a moment, what I mean by that is that if we, as those in our world who are models, if we're modeling complacency, if we're modeling fear, if we're modeling don't go out, don't color outside the lines, then what we're doing is giving energy and focus to that to continue. And if we want our children to be outrageously happily themselves, we need to model the outrageous, happy grown-ups that we are. And so I think that for the rest of this year, if you could just begin to have this mantra, today I will reveal myself. Today I will be myself. I will reveal what is important to me, what I love, how I want to be, all of it. I will reveal that. And as you do that, what begins to happen is that the children, your families, your friends, they take stock in your courage. If you have the courage to be who you are, to tell your story, to tell your truth, you set a higher vibration and invite others to join you there. So no more just cocktail chit chat about, oh, how are you and what's going on, and without any depth, without any connection. So much of the challenge in the world today comes from a lack of connection. No matter how many times you read something on Facebook, it's not the same as touching someone's arm or smile or feeling them. So by modeling the light that you are, you invite people to be more of the light that they are. And that is truly one of the most miraculous changes that can come into being. The last thing that I want to say for today, before I take some questions, is that you were each born with an essence. And if you think of it as like a drop of, I'll say God, you can say Atman, Buddha, Allah, whatever, but you were each born with a drop of God. And inside you, as you connect with your own joy and your own Godness, what you're doing is lighting up your whole being and your whole life, and therefore those around you. And so one of the things I often talk to people about in their private session is, what is your essence? And that's often, people have no idea what I'm talking about. They don't even know what I'm asking them. So I want to give all of you who are listening just a point of reference so you can see what I'm talking about. Many of you were shocked when Robin Williams committed suicide. And what I want to say, and I want to just choose him because he was such a well-known figure, is that his essence was not a comedian. He was a deeply and profoundly private, thoughtful, philosophical person. That was his essence. But over time, because the comedy was so easy for him and he got so much reward from people, and people just loved him for what he could do, more and more his essence in a way atrophied. He couldn't figure out or be with how to share his true self because everyone expected him to be funny and make jokes. He had a beautiful wife and children. He had all the money anyone would need. But he had lost his connection to his essence. And that schism caused him great pain. And there too, he didn't know how to reach out. He didn't know how to find help. And so he ended it. He's fine. He's with us. It's all good. But he's now, in a way, in a place of reflection to see, what could I have done differently? And so looking out not only at yourself, but in the world, I think it's easy to see how many people are not living their essence, but are rather living what has given them some kind of payoff. And again, there's nothing wrong with wealth and money and all of that. But what we see is, it is this schism, it is this sort of separation that has caused so much loneliness, so much addiction, so much obesity, so many ways that people are trying to fill a place in themselves that can only be filled by finding that beautiful drop of Godness, of essence, and allowing that to express. And so I'll, in a moment, take questions, but that's what I wanted you all to just sort of think about today, that wherever you are in this life, really embracing your essence. And your essence is not something on a resume. It is not necessarily having a certain job or a certain degree. And I'll give you one more example before we close on this. Last night, as Samara was watching the sunset, she was at the ocean, and there was this young boy, maybe 11 or 12. And he had like a skimmer board, and over and over and over again, he would push the board out and ride it for a few minutes and try to get the wave, and then ultimately fall down, get back up and do it again. He did it for almost 45 minutes until it was so dark he couldn't see. And the smile on his face the whole time, whether he was catching the wave or falling in, or the board went and he didn't. In that practice, he was allowing his essence to be expressed in the choice he made to try to master that board. So it's really about realizing your essence is the part of you that feels this quiet joy, this quiet happiness and peace. And when you're doing whatever you're doing, or you're sitting and doing nothing, if you feel that, that's the part of you to really love and nurture and take care of, because that's the part of you that will then lead to whatever your resume, job, etc. comes into the world. And without it, like Robin Williams, you might create a life that has many things that look good, but all the while you're not feeling good at all. And for each of you, we want you to feel good. We want you to feel happy. We want you to feel like you're here in this life to be alive, to live, and to love, and to make a difference. So I love each and every one of you, and I thank you so much for being open to hearing from me and to being open to listen to the call that your soul feels, because that's where your essence and all of us connect. You hear us, you feel us, and you know, this is mine to do. This is where I will bring my love. So I'm going to bring Samara back, but I want to say so much love, so much love, so much love. And remember, stop improving, start revealing. Namaste. 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 Wow. Well, Mother Mary is still here, and if any of you have a question or a comment, if you will raise your hand. There's Barbara. Can you unmute Barbara, Tammy?